Okay, my dear students, the next concept is in the concept of CSS. So the next concept is classes and ID selectors. So this is Ramkesh Nabi, Assistant Professor CSE. Okay, today we would like to explain what is class selector and what is ID selector. So today's objective is class selector and then ID selector of CSS. Okay, so the main, so what is class and what is ID? So the class and ID selectors can be used to add different styles to a single HTML tag. That means with the help of class and then ID, so you can add different types of styles for our single HTML tag. With these two selectors, we can define more number of properties. With the properties, we can add the different styles to a single HTML tag. So the first one is class selector. The class selector is the mainly allows to define multiple styles for the same type of HTML elements. That means with the help of class, you can create or you can define multiple styles for the same type of HTMLs. The next, the class selector is used to specify style for group of elements. That means in the class selector we have to define or we have to maintain different types of elements that can be grouped together. So whatever the group of elements that can be accepted with the class and then can acquire the class selector properties, and they are all form the styles of class selectors. Okay, now you can specify certain HTML elements as a class or group using the attribute as a class. So that means if you want to create any class selector, you should have to use the element as in a class. Okay, so in the HTML page, for example, if you create a class p class equals to 1, here the class is 1, so this is the paragraph. What are the class properties of 1 that can be appended to this paragraph? The style can be defined for each class in the CSS by using dot symbol. So whatever the classes in our CSS that can be defined with the dot symbol. For example, here it considered as a p.1. So color hash here. So the class p.1 has been acquired the color code as #000. Whenever we have to define the class equals to 1, so automatically this color code will be appeared to the elements. Okay. Then next, the syntax for class selectors. Here I can, the both syntaxes are same. Here I define selected dot class name. Otherwise, you can also define a dot class name. So here selected dot class name. Whatever the selector you have to define. So these properties are all acquired with this class. Similarly, same like that. So these properties are acquired to this class. Okay. So then next, ID selector. So the ID selector is used to specify a style for single. So ID, in general words, ID is in a unique. So we don't have any two similar IDs. For example, consider in our classroom we had 60 members of students are available. So in the 60 members of students, we have different types of roll numbers. Any two of members doesn't have any same ID number. Same like that, the ID selector is used to specify a style for single unique HTML element. Unlike class that can be used for set of elements, but ID is used for a single and unique HTML. For example, if you created PID equals to para 1, so the next ID you are unable to create para 1. So you can create para 2. So whenever you have to create para 1 of two IDs, it won't accept it. So this is the paragraph. They can only with one element with ID para 1. The style can be defined for each ID in the CSS code by using the hash symbol. In the class, you have to use dot. In the ID, you have to use the hash. So example, hash para 1 color hash 00FF45. So whenever we have to use the para 1 in our code, so it automatically redirected to this color code, and that elements are whatever the data defined in that class, that means in that ID, so that all the data will be displayed in the format of this color. Okay. the ID selector is usually used when you want to style single element as well. So ID is mainly used for single unique HTML, whereas class can be used for set of elements. So for example, if you consider, so in our class, in our college, we have a CSS branch. In that, we have different types of classes. Okay, we have same type of classes. Third area section, third area B section, third area C section, third area D section. Here, all are same classes, but in that, student have a unique IDs. That is the main difference. Okay, the syntax for ID. So same like that, the syntax is also same as in a class, etc. But here somewhat different. So here you mention as an hash ID. So similarly, you have to define the here whatever the elements that can be styled here. Okay. So this is the concepts regarding to the class selector and then ID selector. Now we have to see one basic example on these two selectors. Okay, so right now, so this is the one basic example with our ID class. So in that I have created my HTML page. So in that I have to use an head section. What are the CSS data that should be maintained in only head section? So here I write my CSS code, that means CSS style code that will be maintained here only in the part of head section. Okay, here. So I take an own class p.center. The properties are text -align. That value is center. So and I am also taking another class p.height text. This is the property and this is the value. And also I have to take another class h2. So I can say the properties and then followed by value. So here I also taken in CL1. So this is also in class selector CL1 and it has a property and then value. So this is an ID. So this is ID selector hash. So whenever you have to define hash, so that is an ID selector. So whenever you have to define dot or any p dot, so this is an class. Okay, so in the ID selectors you have to define this colorful. So here you mention ID1. So if you want to write any ID1 and another duplicate value, it won't accept it. Okay, so in the CSS I have to mention what are the CSS code that will be maintained in only head section. So that will the code should be written in between style tag, because CSS is used for to define styles, what are the styles to appear on our web pages. So for that purpose we have to open the style tag, type text.css. So here we have to maintain text and then CSS attributes. So that's why you have to maintain type equals to text.css. So once our code is completed, end of this style and then end of the head, then next you have to open our body. In that body, whatever the data is displayed on our web page, that can be followed with the properties of CSS that will be mentioned like this, that will be defined like this. P equals to, here P is in a paragraph tag and then class equals to center. So once the cursor is goes to like center, then automatically cursor will be moved to here center. Whatever the properties and whatever the values is here, that will be appended to this paragraph is styled by CSS center. Okay, then P class right. So once cursor is moves to here, then it automatically redirect to class right. Then it is an LO properties align right. So then automatically this one will be aligned at right. Similarly CL1, then CL1 is here like that, ID1. Okay, then so whenever I have to give the ID1, it is also displayed, but we are unable to create another ID1. Okay, it is only unique, but you can create another classes. Okay, set of elements in class. Okay, so once you have to complete this, save it and run. So you can run from your where the file is saved, otherwise you can run from this editor also. Click on run, launch in Chrome. Okay, so center, this will be appeared on the center at right side, the left, so default left. This is the name. This is heading style by class 1. Okay, whatever you have to mention, that will be defined, that will be displayed on our web page. Okay, this is the example for class selector and then ID selector. Okay, thank you.